your music and what inspires you and your process and all of these things. And so it's been like really beautiful. It's been a really like, I really expected it to at least be mixed. And so far, knock wood, it has only been positive.
Well, I think because it's a real song and it's really good and people listen to it and you're like, oh, wow, it's so catchy.
Yeah, it's pretty catchy. I know.
Yeah,
and
no,
like
it's catchy.
Right? And so I think that's part of it too. There was some people that did say like, I was nervous. I didn't know what I was going to get. I didn't know what to expect, but it's like, oh, this is actually really fun, you know? So yeah, I think that helps. And again, that I credit the amazing musicians that I work with. So.
And Jared Leto, I mean, 30 Seconds to Mars. I mean, that was a full-time gig for a minute and a half.
I mean, still, they just put out a new album,
exactly.
I believe. And I love that band. I think they're awesome. I've seen them in concert. Like, I'm a legit fan. So yeah, you can definitely, I think you can definitely do both. I think it was really that I just had to stop overthinking it and just do it. And people can like it or not. But again, I've been very lucky that overwhelmingly the followers that I have been really enthusiastic and excited.
Yeah. I mean, we also have like Jennifer Lopez, who I know is a freak of nature, but she does both quite well, guys.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. And I think, again, you know, creative brains often are creative in a multitude of ways, you know? I know there's also like creative people that are really good visual artists and stuff like that. So it does kind of make sense that somebody who would be adept in one kind of facet of the arts would also be adept at another. And how wonderful. Why not?
If you could do a duet with anyone, who would it be?
That's tough. I mean, dead or alive, Freddie Mercury.
That's a good one.
Without question. Dolly for sure. Like, that's up there for me. But then, like, very recent, Youngblood. I'm super, or then, of course, excuse me, I also have to give a shout out to my Prince Harry Styles. That would probably be, you know, the ultimate get for sure.
What? I saw something online. Like, did you dance with Harry Styles or something?
Yeah. It's a wonderful story.
This is not said with any shade, honey.
No.
Like,
I was first here. This was in 2014, so I was new to the city, and I was running with like a very kind of famous crowd, which was bizarre and wonderful. So I kind of found myself in some really cool situations. I gotta write a memoir. That'll be next. After the EP, I'll get on the book. But I was in this kind of VVIP area at a Coldplay concert and dancing, and then I kind of felt someone dancing behind me, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was just like, you know, it wasn't like grindy or creepy in any way. It was just somebody who's like, you can feel somebody kind of like vibing behind you. And the song finishes, and this head kind of comes over my shoulder and is like, what's your name? And I was like, Lauren. And he was like, I like your style. And I turn, and it's Harry Styles. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we proceeded to hard dance together, just like fun, sweaty, like party dance for like 2 more songs. And then I kind of looked over his shoulder, and there was a girl like standing with her arms crossed, kind of like, what? I'm assuming, I don't know whether it was a friend date or otherwise, but they did leave shortly after that. Regardless, I can't speak to why, I don't know. But I've also looked into it. She's happily married with children now. So I feel like I can tell this story because I didn't want to tell it for a long time publicly because I was like, that could have been some sort of painful memory for her. But I think she's doing great. But yeah, so I went to see Harry Styles, obviously, when he was here 3 times. No big deal. I'm a big fan. And so the last time that I went, I was in the pit, and I held a sign that said, Harry, you danced with me at Coldplay in 2014. Let's dance again. And he did read it and give me a peace sign. So that felt like a nice full circle moment.
A peace sign. Did you almost steal at that time Harry Styles from his then, I think, girlfriend?
I don't know. I have done enough research that it says that there's kind of like, a lot of people said they were just friends at the time. So who knows? I don't know if there was any stealing, but was there a vibe? Yeah, I can't deny it. And I don't think he could either. So there you go. And I'll own it. I'll just own it.
How did you fall into a VVIP famous crowd when you first moved here?
Well, obviously being on a show with Rebel, she ran in a very famous crowd too. So there was like, you know, lots of fun parties and opportunities and stuff like that, just like through her and through people I met through her. And so it just kind of was like, I had 2 summers that were like just cuckoo bananas. I mean, we went out on stage at the iHeart Music Awards. Rebel brought Kate and I as our guests. We flew on like a private plane. We go to Vegas. We're backstage. Like Justin Timberlake is like doing the I'm not worthy to Rebel. Like, and then it was like she had planned this whole bit that she was going to do. And at the last minute, the producers were like, no, we want you to do something else. And she's like, well, why don't I bring Lauren and Kate on stage for my new show? And we'll do a bit and we'll promote the new show. And we're like, Yeah, okay, no problem. And then you get out there and it's like 40,000 people or whatever it was in this giant arena. And that was a wild moment for me where, again, somebody who doesn't typically get nervous, it's impossible not to when you're just exposed to that level of humanity. I don't know what you want to call it. So yeah, there was a couple years for me that it was stuff like that over and over again, where it was like falling into like, well, this is my life today, and I'm just going to ride the wave because what a wacky life I have somehow managed to carve out for myself.
Yeah. If you could act against or next to anyone, is there an actor or actresses that you just would love to work with?
Oh my gosh, Pedro Pascal, top of list. I think he's so talented. And I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that since before it was trendy.
Before it was okay. Before it was trendy.
Before it was trendy. I think Michelle Williams is one of the best actresses of our generation. I think Ryan Gosling is one of the best actors of our generation. I was in a movie with him years ago called Lars and the Real Girls, so I guess I've already checked that box off the list. I was in a very small part. But yeah, and then I would have to say too, like, shows like Yellow Jackets are really exciting to me right now. I would love to be a part of something. So many like amazing, talented women. I just think those are so exciting, and that's like appointment viewing for me. Like I'm like setting my alarm to watch the new one, which is
that's like that's your current binge.
Well, no, I wasn't binging it. I was like, I'm watching this like we used to watch TV. What a concept, right? It's so rare. But yeah, Last of Us was the same. I was like, I got to watch this week to week too, and yeah, I think there's just so many cool things happening in television right now. But I'd love to do something, with like Melanie Linsky. I think is fantastic, and so many of those gals, and something that's like more drama based would be cool, I think too. I think I'm itching for a little drama right now.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are busy on Not Dead Yet.
Yes. Yeah.
I read that it was one of ABC's like the highest rated debut comedy in like 4 years. I read that. I don't know. I assume that's true.
It is true. Yes.
Wow. So you just have this track record. I mean, I know the business is not, I'm oversimplifying lots and lots of things, but you've landed on another hit show.
Yeah, I know. I mean, gosh, it's so funny. And yes, it's, I remember when I booked, I think it was Super Fun Night, and somebody had made a comment about like, well, it must be nice to your overnight success. And I was like, at that point, I had been auditioning again for like 15 years. I had been, working my way up, doing commercials and, live comedy for free for years. And so it was like, I don't know that I would call it an overnight success. But yeah, I've been really lucky. I've done a lot of really cool things, and it's amazing to kind of go from something that was so beloved, like Superstore, especially during the pandemic, became so big and is so beloved by so many. You never know what the next one's going to be. Is it going to be, is it going to be anything even close? And I think what's been really amazing for me with Not Dead Yet is it is absolutely wonderful. We have the best time. Another again where I'm like, wow, I'm really lucked out with amazing people in this cast. But the energy is so different. It's so fascinating. It's like it's hard for me to even compare the two, which I know sounds so silly because they're very easily arguably comparable, but they're not. It's I think the energy of having 3 female leads, one of our male leads is queer, the energy is just so lovely. And not that the energy wasn't lovely on Superstore, but it was just different.